What's up, bro? My name is Leo Myron. I'm an 18-year-old guy on self-improvement from Stockholm, Sweden. And I've been on NoFap for quite a while now. For about 8, 9 months, I've been successful on it. Before that, I struggled for about 2.5 years, from like late 2022 to about April, May last year, 2025. But since then, I actually haven't even jacked off once. And so basically in this video, I want to kind of like walk you through what a normal day of my life looks like and why I do what I do from a NoFap perspective. So hopefully you can improve on NoFap and maybe get some tips from this video, and also just what I do on a regular basis in terms of my other goals. Because I do think having real big goals is a great tool for NoFap, because you actually have things to look forward to and to sacrifice the short-term pleasure for, you know? So yeah, let's get into it. So yesterday I woke up at 5 a.m. It's my new wake up time. And the reason that I wake up at 5 a.m. is because I want to be able to do stuff before I go to school and still have a lot of energy. So basically when you wake up, you are going to be the most well rested, right? You've just slept. And for me, at least, that is when I'm the most energetic and have the most energy. And it also just fits really well with my schedule, because I want to work out and eat a lot in the afternoon and in the evening, which we'll get to in a second. And so I really like having the mornings just clear for me to do whatever I want to do. And usually that is going to be something related to this YouTube channel or my community that I'm having and that I'm building. And basically just I want to help as many guys on NoFap as possible to sort of bring them further along the journey to a point closer to where I've gotten to, and so on. And so I really like getting up early for that reason. And like nobody else is up, nobody's disturbing me. I can just be by myself and do the work that needs to be done, right? So yeah, I love waking up at 5 a.m. And after that, after I wake up, I just get up from the bed. I usually just sit on my bed for like a couple of minutes, after I've turned off my alarm, just processing reality for a second, just like like sitting there and staring into the wall or staring into the mirror, just like trying to fucking go from switch modes from sleep to awake, because I am usually a bit tired in the morning, like just when I wake up. And I think a big reason for that is that I eat quite late, and generally when you eat later in the day, when you have a late dinner, you kind of slightly mess up your body's processes, because digestion takes up a lot of energy that should probably be allocated towards the stuff that is supposed to happen during sleep, like the repair functions, the recovering functions of your body. But that's kind of how I'm choosing to play it right now. I think the routine that I have right now is the best for me, so I'm willing to incur that cost. So yeah, I'm a bit tired when I wake up, like right off the bat. I'm a bit sluggish, but after a couple of minutes, after I've turned the lights on and stuff, I'm all good to go. And then I go into the bathroom and I take off my eye mask and my retainers and like my sleepwear, like my mouth tape. I basically tape my mouth shut with like a safe tape and everything, and don't worry about it, to make sure that I breathe from my nose and not from my mouth during sleep. Because there are a lot of health benefits to breathing from your nose. You generally develop a more angular face. Your facial aesthetics will go up if you breathe more through your nose and you let your tongue rest on the top of the mouth, like the roof of the mouth. And then also the quality of the air that you breathe in from your nose is generally going to be higher than the quality of the air that you breathe in from your mouth, because your nasal sort of system and pathway seem to have a lot more like filters and stuff for the air that comes in. And so basically some stuff going on in your sinuses, like behind your nose and all that. So yeah, there are a lot of health benefits to breathing from your nose, and that's why I wear mouth tape. And so then when I've taken all that off, I hop into the cold shower. I turn the little thingy on the shower all the way to the cold side, and I'll hop in. It's maybe like 10 degrees if I were to guess. It's quite cold, and especially now in winter, it's even more cold, because I guess there's just something going on with like the pipeline and stuff underground, with when the natural temperature in the air drops as well. But yeah, I mean, I think it's quite cold, and I just stand there for like a minute, maybe 30 seconds, something like that. to really kind of shock my body. And the main reason that I do cold showers, I would say, I mean, there's two reasons, but the first one is that it's just a big win that I collect in the very beginning of my day. You know, I can just wake up and do something hard, and generally after that, I tend to have a much better day than if I just wake up and do something that don't require any fucking discipline. You know, I just go and read, for example. If I take a cold shower, I'm generally way more fucking ecstatic and energetic afterwards. And there is actually a biological backup to, like, there's a basis for this. So basically, there's something called dopamine. You might have heard of it. And basically, what it is the molecule in your brain that regulates motivation and energy and drive. And so when you have a lot of dopamine, you tend to have a lot of motivation. And people that are depressed, for example, that don't have any motivation for life, they tend to have very low levels of dopamine. And so basically, what happens when you hop into the cold shower or you take a cold plunge, like an ice bath or something like that, when you expose your skin and your body to cold water specifically, you tend to get a really fucking dramatic increase in dopamine for an extended period of time. Now, hear me out, because a lot of things can give you a spike in dopamine. Things like cocaine, methamphetamine, fucking sex, chocolate, all these things that are naturally pleasurable. When your brain perceives a way to get them, provided they have reinforced, like, rewarded you in the past. I'm not saying that if you're just gonna take meth if you see it on the floor, of course not. But for people that have taken these things in the past and they have received a reward from doing it, the brain will pump them full of dopamine when the thing is in front of them. Like, you might, for example, get an urge to quickly grab that piece of chocolate. You get motivation to do it. You know, you want to get it. That is dopamine firing in your brain and in your blood. And so the more you keep indulging in this thing, as you indulge, the dopamine levels go up. So basically what happens is that when you like, for example, you know, you're having sex, right? Then as you keep going, you are being extremely very much reinforced to keep going. You're being very rewarded all the time. It's very pleasurable. And so your brain wants you to keep going, and it produces more and more dopamine, more and more motivation for you to keep going. But then what happens with normal activities is that when the drug wears off, when cocaine, when sex, when sugar, when it wears off, when either you adapt and when you adjust, like if you fucking edged or had sex for hours and you're all blue balled, it might not even be pleasurable anymore, right? Like everything else is boring as fuck, and this is the only thing that is not boring, but it is not even pleasurable because your baseline has dropped, right? And so with most things, or even if you don't go to that extent, you just stop doing the thing. Generally, your dopamine levels go way fucking down. You know, because it's just how the human brain works, and the human brain, there's something called tolerance for stimulus, and so your brain, after having been exposed to highly dopaminergic activities, it will adapt, and it will basically set this new baseline, which is lower, and adjust it to this new barrage of dopamine, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm just rambling. But either way, the only thing you need to know is that there are many activities that spike your dopamine, but basically all of them make your dopamine levels plummet down afterwards, which feels like a huge drop in energy and motivation and so on. But with cold showers, it is actually not the case. You get a spike in dopamine, at least like when you step out of the cold shower or the cold plunge, and it is sustained for hours. It's about 4 to 6 hours, and so the increase is about 2.5x, which is comparable to cocaine. Like, I think sex generally doubles your dopamine levels, and chocolate 1.5x is it roughly, and then cocaine, 2.5x is it, and then meth generally 10x is it. So it's a very potent drug. But yeah, cocaine, it's like, you can imagine how fucking stimulating that shit is. Maybe you haven't taken it. I certainly haven't, but maybe there are some crackheads in the fucking audience. I don't know. But yeah, man, if you can imagine that, like, imagine how addicted people are to cocaine. Like, just how stimulating it has to be to keep people that hooked, you know? So, like, when you step out of a cold shower that you've been in for like 30 seconds to about 2 minutes, I think the benchmark is, you will basically sustain a 2.5x increase in motivation dopamine for like 4 to 6 hours, which is great. And I feel very energetic after I step out of the cold shower. I feel very energetic now. I don't know if that's visible or not, but I feel very, good and alive, and I feel ready to make this video and spit some game for the boys, right? And I genuinely think that taking a cold shower in the morning for me has been one of the most instrumental habits, because whenever I do it, it tends to just put me on a great path for the rest of the day. You know, I've been taking cold showers since like fucking, what is it even? Since the end of 2022. Yeah, almost like, I wouldn't say 3.5 years, but maybe like three years and 2 months or something like that. So it's yeah, I love it, man. I think I've taken more than like 1,500 cold showers at this point, at least more than 1,000. And yeah, I've grown to love them, bro. Even though it's still painful when you walk in, like when you step inside. I'm not gonna lie. Of course, it is painful. It's fucking freezing water after you've just been in bed, cozy as fuck, right? Of course, it's gonna be painful, but afterwards, when you're done, it's great. So that's why I take cold showers. Now, after I have the cold shower, I do some other normal stuff like brushing my teeth and that kind of stuff, like some hygiene, like deodorant, the normal stuff. And then I go back into my room. I get my clothes on. I usually just wear like a pair of sweatpants and a hoodie, maybe a tank top, maybe a t-shirt, who knows, some socks. And yeah, that's about it, man. And then I will make my bed, which I don't think there's like a huge, special snowflake reason to make your bed. I don't think that it directly impacts my goals, like the progress that I make towards my goals. Like, I don't think it makes me more muscle, for example. I'm into the gym. I'm bulking right now, so that's one of my goals, making muscle in the gym, and then also to grow my community and help more guys on NoFap and like grow my channel. And I don't think that making my bed specifically helps me directly with either of those, but I just like it. And I like having my room organized. I don't like seeing shit on the floor when I come into my room. And it only takes a couple of minutes. And, I just feel good when I come in, and that's worth it to me. So I make my bed, I set everything up nicely, and it looks nice. And I like that. Then I grab my winter jacket, my beanie, my shoes. Sometimes I use a bandana. I use gloves when I go out because it's pretty fucking cold. It's about 5:30, 6 a.m. right now. So it's in fucking the deep dark winter of Sweden, fucking Scandinavia. You might be able to imagine. I don't know. So but yeah, either way, I get that shit on. I go out. I'm on about a 15 to 20 minute walk to the woods where I like to make these videos. I'm obviously in the woods now, and I like to sit at this bench that I'm on, that I'm at. And yeah, this is kind of my normal setup. I set everything up. I put my microphone in, my tripod, and yeah, I sit down at this bench and just spit some game to the boys like I'm doing right now. So yesterday, I think the video was quite high quality. I think my speaking skills could use some improving. Some fucking hell. You see, I think my speaking skills could use some improvement. Maybe I was just a bit mindless yesterday or something when I was making the video, but overall, I thought it was pretty good. And yeah, it was pretty long, like 47 minutes, and I'm basically just summarizing my fucking day. So I'm going into quite extensive detail on some things that I do, but I think that's good, And having longer videos also just gives me more time and more room to give advice, to you and the other guys watching. And so yeah, I like that. And I just sat down, spat some game, no script, just talking about what my day was like yesterday. Maybe I should have some bullet points or some notes. I don't know. Right now, I'm not using any scripts or anything like that for my videos. I just roughly map out like what I'll be talking about on my way out. Just talking about myself a little bit, like a fucking psychopath out loud. And then when I come here, I just say what's on my mind, and try to give some good advice. And then after I made the video, it was about, I think, I think it was about 6:47 when I was done. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. And then I went back home. I've packed all the stuff up, packed my tripod up, and that kind of stuff. By the way, like the camera that you're seeing this from is my phone, and it is standing on my tripod, just for clarity. And then I went back home. I went through the woods, arrived at the normal like main street of the neighborhood. I went back home, and then at 7 a.m., the first of 3 daily accountability calls with my NoFap community starts. So basically, I host 3 daily accountability calls with like like a dozen guys. I think we're 10 guys plus me in the group right now. So it's basically people that have joined my community, my free NoFap community, and that really want to take this shit seriously and are really committed on the path. And I basically made a group chat of those guys and myself, obviously. And so in there, I host 3 daily accountability calls where everyone comes on and tells everyone else, okay, like if they've jacked off or if they have had any urges, if yes, what did they do, when did they get them, what were they doing when they got them, what did they do afterwards, and so on. And so it's basically just designed to keep everyone accountable, which I define as like I would define accountability as behavior that increases the likelihood of self-compliance, which basically means things that you or someone else does that makes it more likely that you will do what you said you would do. Does that make sense? Like if you, for example, stick up a habit tracker on your wall, that will probably make you more likely to do what you said you would do. Because then if you don't do it, then you won't be able to tick the boxes unless you lie to yourself, but hopefully you're not lying to yourself. And then every time you see the habit tracker, you'll feel some sort of shame or embarrassment that you didn't do the thing, provided you didn't have like a legitimate reason not to do it or whatever. But that would be one way of increasing accountability. Another way would be having people around you that called you out. Bro, have you done this thing? Why not? Why the fuck are you being lazy? You know, that kind of stuff, right? And that's basically what I'm doing in the calls or on the calls. And then another way would be writing a post in the community, for example, every single day to keep yourself accountable. And yeah, you probably get the point. Basically, things that you or other people do that helps you do the stuff that you said you would do. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. And because I haven't actually seen anyone define accountability, which is interesting. But either way, I do 3 daily accountability calls, and the first one is at 7 a.m. So I hopped on the call with the guys. We had a lovely chat. We went through some stuff that we're going through and stuff. And yeah, I just asked him like, okay, bro, how has NoFap gone since our last call? How was it going? Like, did you have any urges yesterday or earlier today? Like, how was it gone? And then the guys just answer, and yeah, that's all it is. And yeah, like when guys on the call say that they've jacked off, when they admit that they have relapsed, or to be fair, I don't like using that word because it sort of assumes that you go back to the place where you started, which is not true because you gain all the the experience of being on NoFap. But that's another conversation. I don't like to use the word NoFap, I don't like to use the word relapse on NoFap. But yeah, the guys just answer me and like just tell me the truth. And if they have jacked off, I will of course laugh my ass off at them because it's fucking embarrassing and it's disgusting and it's way below these guys, and I know that. And it's really fucking funny. I had 2 guys the other day that had jacked off, and I just laughed my ass off for like fucking 20 minutes straight. It was so nice, so funny. And I I had them go through in excruciating detail the entire process. So one of the guys, he was like, yeah, bro, I saw this ad on a website and or like an app, and of like a provocative image, like a girl posing in a certain way, and he got some urges from that. And then he was like, yeah, bro, I typed this website in, like you can probably imagine what I'm talking about. And then I did this with my fucking hand on my PP. And it was so hilarious, man. I don't know if you can imagine that, but it's like, it is fucking painful when you have to go through that shit with people that you respect on some level, to have to admit to your mistakes, right? Like that. So it was really fucking funny, man. And yeah, I hope they learned the lesson that I was trying to teach them, to not jack off, hopefully. And yeah, basically the next time they have urges, the point of the calls is to basically get the thought of that they are going to have to tell me and the other guys on the call in their head when they have the urges, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I'm basically doing free coaching for guys that are really committed on this path because I want to get experience as a coach, and I want to actually be able to get people results before I start charging and stuff. So that's why I'm doing it. And yeah, I've been doing it for about 6 weeks now, I think for about 1.5 months. And yeah, I find it really enjoyable. And yeah, so I had a lovely chat with the guys. And then I went to school at about 8 a.m. and I hopped on the bus. And yeah, I just went into the city. I live in like a sort of suburban area outside of the like main Stockholm, central Stockholm. And so then I went to the sort of city, if you want to call it that, to where my school is. And I hopped off the bus at the bus stop. And then I actually hopped on another bus to another bus stop a bit closer to the school, to my school. Then I trekked to the school. I went into the classroom, did the class, edited my video, like just put some B-roll on, just some clips of me doing some stuff like on the video that I recorded, and then I uploaded it. If that makes sense. Like maybe you've seen some clips on this video, and basically I do that when I just on the bus, or either when I come to school directly, and just try to get the video up as fast as humanly possible. And so I did that. I was in class and did some of the normal fucking bullshit there. I don't like school at all. I'm not going to go to university. I graduate high school in June this year, so I'm 18. I don't know how the education system would translate to your country, but in Sweden we have like elementary school up until maybe like, what is it, like maybe 9 or 12 years old, something like that. Then we have middle school, and then high school is basically all you need to know is that high school is from about 15 to about 18 in Sweden. And so I'm 18, born in 2007, and so I graduate this June, this summer, and I'm definitely not planning to go to uni. I don't see myself doing that at all, or college or anything like that. I don't want to go down that path, no matter what, basically. So yeah, I don't really like school, but I go to school because I basically have an agreement, a deal with my parents that they are willing to support my grind and my goals if I'm willing to go to school. And for me, it is more, I would rather go to school and live at home and have my parents support me like that than have to take some fucking 9 to 5 job or something like that. It's just too much headache and friction. So I've decided to stay in school, and yeah. So I went to the class, attended, did some of the bullshit there, some of the fucking, I don't even call it school, bro. I call it the indoctrination camp, because that's what it is. Indoctrination basically means brainwashing, because I think that's what it is. You get bright kids coming in with a bunch of creativity and energy and curiosity, and by the end of it, they're fucking like a black and white people, metaphorically, and with no creativity, with all their fucking curiosity having been trampled and everything, and just following the normal script of everyone around them and conforming like a little NPC. And yeah, I just don't like the environment. I don't like the kind of people that they produce. Like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to just want to be like a normal fucking worker. That's gay as fuck. What are you talking about? And yeah, I don't like school for that reason. But yeah, I finished school at about noon yesterday, which is really nice. 2 days a week, I have what we call half days. So instead of having one class from, let's say, 8:30 to 11:30, and then another class from about 12:30 to 3:30, I have 2 days a week. Like 2 days a week, I don't have the afternoon classes. I only have the forenoon classes. That's not even a fucking word people use these days. But either way, I finished at, I think, 11:40 a.m. Yesterday. So that was pretty nice. And yeah, after that, I just went home, hopped on the bus again, had some food when I came home. And then at 1 p.m., I had another call with the group, another accountability call. Hopped on the call, spoke with the guys, lovely call. And yeah, it's really nice, man. It's really nice. You can just, like, I just hop on the call and ask the guys, have you jacked off? If yes, then I fucking have a great laugh. If not, then I feel proud of the guys. And either way, we'll have a lovely chat. So it's really nice, man. And yeah, I think that went on for maybe 30 minutes, something like that. Yeah. And then afterwards, at about 2 p.m., I did some driving with my dad, some driving practice, because I'm trying to get my license in about 3 days from now. So I'm recording this on the 24th, I believe it should be. And then on the 27th, I'll have my driving test. So yeah, wish me luck for that. And yeah, so I'm going to do some, like today that I'm recording this, I'm going to be doing some more driving tomorrow as well. And probably like some sort of a rest day on Monday. But yeah, that's basically what I did. I did some driving. We drove around the town and practiced like fucking roundabouts and T junctions and all sorts of different stuff. So that was nice. And then what did I do after that? Yeah, so I came back home at about 4 p.m. 4:30 p.m. and then I ate more, ate more food. I had some rice and some chicken, and then I had I forgot what I had for lunch actually. I like at like 12:30. No, I had some sandwiches and some. I put up some clip, some B-roll stuff, but I'm pretty sure I had some sandwiches, some toasts, and some stuff there. But then at about 4:30 p.m., I had some chicken and rice, some like a lot of carbs, a lot of rice before my workout. So yeah, then I did my workout with my brother, and I did some shoulders, chest, and neck yesterday. I only did 9 sets because I arrived at the gym quite late because we did quite a lot of driving and stuff, and I want to make sure that I leave the gym in time so that I can actually, or on time, so that I can actually go to sleep when my schedule says that I should go to sleep. So I did that. I only did 9 sets, 3 exercises, 3 sets. But yeah, I hit like a nice PR on lateral raises for shoulders. I did 10 kilogram dumbbells, which is the most that I've ever done, which is like 22 pounds for lateral raises. So yeah, I'm making good progress, and I'm doing like 65 kilogram incline Smith machine presses right now. So I think I did it for 7 reps or something like that on a 45-degree incline. So yeah, I want to get that shit up to like 2 plates and during like this year for sure. And yeah, we'll see where I take that. And then I did some neck curls as well. I like to train my neck because I think it makes you look more intimidating and more masculine, which might sound insecure. I don't really give a shit. I think it looks cool as fuck. And when I see guys that are like have really skinny necks, I think like on a fucking primal level, just instinctively, I lose respect for them on some level. I don't know how that works, but I certainly like to have a nice thick neck. Maybe that sounds arrogant. I don't really give a shit, you know. But yeah, it's when I see, for example, comparisons between people that have, you know, quite thick necks, and then their head or their neck is photoshopped to look way smaller. It it automatically makes them look more like a fucking little boy. I don't know if you've seen any of those pictures, but yeah, maybe you can just search up like neck comparison on Google or something. So I like to train my neck for that reason, and also it just strengthens your fucking skull and your like your For example, if you were to get punched, which I don't, hopefully we shouldn't be in any street fights or anything like that. But if you do martial arts, for example, which I have done a lot, then you want to have a strong neck so that you can withstand the punches that you get on your head. So yeah, as well, I did that, and then I went back home and I ate more. I had some fucking, what was it? Yeah, some homemade French fries without all the fucking seed oils, and also some beef patties and some lettuce. That was basically what I ate last night, and maybe some gravy on top. Who knows? And yeah, that was what I ate. And after that, I had a little bit of a conversation with my dad, and then I had another call. Or to be fair, I had to call it before the meal actually. So I had the call at about 7 p.m. and yeah, we hopped on another call with the guys, and it was great. Another like a new member just did his first call. A guy from South Africa, like yeah, really lovely guy. So yeah, man, just talked with the guys for like 20 minutes, like how was it going with NoFap and everything, and just kept everyone accountable. So that was nice. And then I ate, and then at about 7:50 p.m., which is way too late, I finished my dinner. It should be way earlier than that. Um, it was kind of like I came home from the gym at about 6:35, but then my dad was cooking dinner, and he wasn't like the dinner wasn't ready yet. So like, what the fuck was I supposed to do? Maybe I was just supposed to get some food by myself, like get some oats and not even eat the dinner that he cooked to be on time with my schedule and everything, which is definitely a valid alternative because I have to make sure that I go to bed on time and stuff. But yeah, there was a bit of a delay last night with that kind of stuff, which is not great, which I have to fix. But yeah, at 7 p.m. I had the call, and then at about 7:20 ish, I started eating, and I had two big servings of French fries and beef patties and some lettuce. And then at about 7:50, I brushed my teeth. I think I showered before, and then I just hopped into bed, turned all the lights off, and I put my sleepwear on, my retainers for my teeth, and my mouth tape, my eye mask, and I journal on my phone in like a Notion page, which it's like a note taking software, an app, and I just journal about my day, how everything, had gone, and what I was proud of, what I was less proud of, and so on. I gave myself a 9.5 out of 10 in terms of productivity. I think I was really fucking productive yesterday. So I gave myself a 9.5. And I think if I keep up this pace with everything that I'm doing, I'll be really fucking, I'll be good, in terms of hitting my goals. I think. We'll see. But yeah, man, I think yesterday was a great day, and I just journaled about some stuff that I did, some micro things that I like. It's so interesting because we generally, as humans, tend to forget the details of our past, like our memories. Like if you think back just last year, like you only probably can recall like instantly, like maybe a dozen like moments, a dozen pictures in your mind. If you think about this month, this event, like for me, for example, at the beginning of in the beginning of the year, I was doing a lot of martial arts, and I was doing some stuff on YouTube as well. I was posting like digital detox content, like fucking how to reduce screen time and that kind of stuff. And then in March, I had like a kickboxing tournament. I did 3 kickboxing fights. And then, or before that, actually, earlier in March, I went to Mallorca with my mother. It's like an island in Spain. And we hiked some mountains there. And it was really nice. And yeah, I love that trip like very much. It was really nice. Bless my mother. And yeah, man, I can recall that. And then during summer, I had a bit of a fucking rut. I just wasn't as productive as I would have liked to. I wasted a lot of time and stuff. And but yeah, I started going harder on weightlifting during summer as well, though. So I was making some gains there. I was gaining weight. I was bulking up because I always found it quite difficult to bulk up whilst training martial arts, which I did for like 2 years. And so I kind of stayed at like 75 kg, like 165 pounds for like 1.5 years or something like that, 18 months. But then when I stopped, I pretty instantly you just got up to like a pretty considerable amount of weight in a short period of time. So I'm 85 kg right now at 6 foot, so like 185 pounds or whatever that is. And yeah, so I'm basically bulking right now, and during the last like what is it 8 months or something, I've gained like fucking 10 kilograms, which I think is great progress and stuff. So yeah, man. And then after that, I remember that I started school again in August, and I kept doing this vlog series that I'm doing, and I reached like 1,000 subscribers a little bit later. What the fuck did I even do, man? I went to the gym a lot. I hung out with like my big brother and my best friend, whom I also consider a brother. So yeah, man. And then in later on, I did some like um, I watched Stranger Things 5. It's like a Netflix show. It's like the only show that I've watched in like the fucking past 4 years or something like that. And yeah, I really love it. Of course, the series has ended now. It's come to an end. But yeah, I think it's a great series. I'll probably end up annually rewatching this series. Actually, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I really love it. And then I watched that when it came out, Stranger Things 5, the final season, in November, and then the two like final volumes were released in December. So I watched those. I enjoyed those, and like honestly, like of course I made the community that I have and everything. I started doing free coaching last year and stuff, but like I can't remember all the crispy details of what I actually did on a day-to-day basis. It's just not You're not going to store that amount of information to like probably in your brain, so I just like to journal on my phone a little bit before bed, maybe for 5-10 minutes, and see like, okay, what did I do, what would I want my future self to be able to go back to this day and to be able to see that I did or felt or had some sort of experience with. So It's like, because if I could go back 5, 10 years and see that shit, what I did when I was younger, bro, that would have been sick, man. It would have been all like fucking. It would have been so sick. Yeah, like just imagine that. Like I can't. The life that I was living 10 years ago. Sure, I'm not that fucking old. I'm 18. You know, when I was 8 years old, I was doing some, more childish stuff probably, but it was still, still wholesome. If I just made like a little 1 minute, 2 minute vlog of me doing some stuff, it would have been gold worth, bro. I would have loved to see that, because it's like the past is, it's like it's just in your head at this point. And I just like the idea. I love the idea of sort of actually materializing it and making it real, so that my future self can go back and look back upon this season of my life, both through the journal that I have on my phone. And so I basically don't journal on like an actual notebook when I do that kind of journaling, because I want it to be easily accessible for my future self in, 5, 10, 20 years, whatever. Because probably if the software doesn't fucking crash or something, if they don't discontinue the software, then probably I will be able to access those. But yeah, man, it's like, and then also I do these videos where I obviously go into detail what I'm doing, and that kind of stuff. So I just like really fucking like this thing that I'm doing, and I haven't seen a lot of people do it, but I think it's underrated, because you can certainly do it at a quite a low cost. Like you can do it just with a couple of minutes a day. Sure, I make these videos that take fucking 30 minutes or an hour plus a day to record and edit and so on. Um, but that's what I want to do. That's my prerogative. But yeah, I think it's a great habit to get into, and it's certainly something that I've grown to love since I've started. And so then after I do that, I remember last night it was about 8:10, 8:11 p.m. when I finished my journaling. And then basically what I do as the last thing of the day is that I basically turn on the flashlight on my phone at the very the lowest brightness possible, and then I hold it like this, and then I have like a book right here that I read, a physical book. And I like to read a fiction book series, like a book from a book series called Warriors by Aaron Hunter. And it's fiction, and it's not like some sort of self-improvement book or anything like that. It's just like a fantasy book, and I fucking love it, man. It's unbelievable, the series. I've read it since I was about 11 years old, 10 years old, maybe 10 years old, from like 2019. And yeah, bro, it's really amazing. There's like it's all about nature and wildlife, and like adventure and fucking flora and fauna of all kinds. And the characters are so, I think they're multifaceted in so many ways, and it's taught me so much about like, you know doing what's right and doing and not doing what's like doing what's right and not doing what's wrong, and that kind of stuff. And like spirituality, although I haven't properly defined that for myself, although I do think it's something to do with what you are willing to suffer for. Like if you are willing to suffer the price of discipline or suffer the price of regret, I think there's some spiritual component to that. I'm not too sure yet, but I think it's real, spirituality in some way. Although it's quite amorphous and quite intangible. But I do think that there's something to it. I've definitely felt, spirituality or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so I've definitely learned a lot of stuff from Warriors. I've been inspired by Warriors many times. By which I mean that I'm standing in front of a hard decision, but I keep in mind Warriors, just the things that I love, and that the energy that I've gotten from them, the motivation. So I kind of want to pay back to them, which might sound like a weird thing to say to a fucking book series, but it's kind of like I just have in the back of my mind the characters from this series that have been with me for so long now, and that have taught me to do so many things. And I just want to like kind of pay back to the forces of the universe, whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe in, um, by doing the thing that's right now. I want to be a great representation of a Warriors fan. I want people to be able to look at the book series Warriors that I so much love, and look at me and see that and see excellence in me, and then also associate that with Warriors. If you want to be able, like, if you want to be a great example for something, you want to represent something, you want to make something look better. Like for example, it might be your parents. Like if you become successful and exceptional, people will on some level want to know your parents, because they, on some level, created the success that you have. At least, like, they physically created you, right? So there'll be some level of interest for those people. And I think being the best version of yourself and doing what's right, what you think is right, what you know is right in your heart, is a great way to basically be an example for the things that you want to represent, and that you want to represent you, if that makes sense. So yeah, man, I just love Warriors so much. It's inspired me a whole ton, and I love the book series. And yeah, man, if you're a lot like me, then I would recommend checking it out. The first book is called Into the Wild. There are, like, I think it's translated into a few dozen languages. Like, it's translated to my language, Swedish, Um, and so I've read all of the books in Swedish, basically, apart from a few books that have just come out in Swedish, like the translation has just come out. I haven't read those, but I read almost all of them. And I started my warrior's journey with Swedish books, now reading in English, because there are like 100+ books. I think the number goes up to like 120 or something like that, 110 at least. I'm pretty sure. And I think about, what is it, like 20 something? I think it is. I think the 24th translation comes out later this year. So yeah, man, I read all of those, and I'm on my 56th book right now. Although I have reread many of them, even like not just once but twice. So I've read some of them thrice, you know. And yeah, man, I think my overall, like, the amount of books that I've read at this point is like 96, 95, something like that. And yeah, I love to just read one chapter every night, because I feel like it helps me fall asleep. It just kind of puts my mind in a nice calm state, and I'm not like super energetic or aroused, or I'm not thinking about like sexual stuff, when I'm reading that kind of stuff, because it's so wholesome. And although that's another word that I haven't defined or stuff, but I think you get the point. It's like, I feel very calm and relaxed when I read Warriors. Kind of like the opposite to how you would feel when you have a lot of sexual urges. You're really fucking energetic and intense and aroused. You really want to get this thing. But when I read, I can just like exhale and go into another world and kind of lose myself there and forget everything else, and that really helps me fall asleep, personally. So yeah, I love reading Warriors, man. It's great. And then at about 8:30 p.m. last night, I went to bed. I turned the lights off, which is about, it's half an hour after my actual bedtime, which is 8 p.m. But today there were some inefficiencies at nighttime specifically. And also just in the afternoon, because we arrived home, like, we came home quite late after the driving and stuff. So yeah, I just fucking ate dinner really fucking late. But yeah, man, I think if I could just eat dinner earlier, I can for sure, like, hit my bedtime consistently at 8 p.m. And I refuse to believe that I have to settle at 8:30 p.m. when I actually set out to go to bed at 8 p.m. when I started this, or when I made this new kind of schedule. So yeah, man, that's kind of how my day was yesterday. And then also at the end of these videos, I like to, of course, tell you and the other guys watching this if I had any sexual urges, if I jacked off. And I will tell you, I did not jack off. Another day, I know. I did not jack off yesterday. I did not have basically any real urges to do anything. Sure, I had some visualizations and like imaginations in my mind and some mental movies. Specifically when I came home from school, from the indoctrination camp, and I was eating my stuff. It was just really weird, because for some reason, I just started thinking about, like, and kind of visualizing the life of like a gang member, of like a rapper, a criminal like that. Because there are a lot of gangster rappers in Sweden. Like, there's a huge culture here for gangster rap and that kind of stuff, where they're talking about like killing people and fucking selling coke and fucking whores and all that kind of stuff, right? Which is just disgusting. And on some level, it was like appealing. Obviously not like logically and stuff. Of course, I was never close to changing what I do based on these thoughts, or whatever you want to call them, visualizations. But it was just that, like, I kept like finding myself thinking about how life as like a fucking member of a gang in the hood, you know, will look like. And I was just like, yeah, you're killing people, and you're selling cocaine, and you're always on your fucking, you're thinking about where the cops are, and fucking you're trying to fuck this bitch from a party or some shit like that. You don't know who to trust. And I was like, this is like, it is so glamorized and like fucking, um, glorified in the rap music that these people put out, and I've listened to that shit for a long time. I don't anymore because it's fucking, it's one, it's dopaminergic as fuck. Two, it's fucking disgusting because they talk about shit that I don't like. Three, it's also just like a cuck thing. You basically just listen to another guy who's hyping himself up, right? And you're almost pretending to be like him in your mind. You're almost visualizing doing the stuff that he's doing, and you're like, yeah, me and this guy, we go way back, bro, and like that this guy and you have some sort of relationship, and that the status that he ascribes to himself somehow applies to you as well, when it clearly fucking doesn't. You're just a fucking observer, and he's the actual guy who's doing the thing. It's like pornography. Like you watch a guy do the thing that you want to do, and you make yourself feel and believe that on some level you are doing it. And I think that's fucked up. I don't like that, so I don't fucking listen to that shit. You can continue if you want to, if you want to be more of a cuck, if you want to condition yourself, if you want to reinforce yourself, if you want to like reward yourself for like basically acting like a cuck, if you want to create an association between acting like someone who is observing the real big G doing it and a good feeling, then sure, go ahead. Like, it's people that watch a lot of pornography tend to be more turned on by seeing other men fuck women, which is just absolutely and utterly ridiculous. Like, on a primal level, that is just absolutely antithetical to how your biology is supposed to be, right? Seeing another guy with the woman that you might want, or for example, if that doesn't do some sort of like, if that doesn't annoy you on some level, then sure, I might, to be fair, I might be completely wrong, but at least for me, when like, it just sounds weird to me that you would like to see a woman that you would want to be with get absolutely railed by some other guy. Like, that just, it doesn't make sense to me. And it doesn't make sense to me to create a positive association between to a positive association to seeing that guy, or like a positive association between the feeling that you get from doing it and the actual thing itself. You feel like you're doing it, you feel good, but then you're not actually doing it, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm just rambling, but either way, I don't like rap music for that reason, you know? And yeah, dude, it's just like, I was thinking more and more about that kind of stuff, and I was like, yeah, like my fucking monkey little brain was piping up, and it was like, yeah, yeah, you're gonna be, if you were like a gangster like this, which obviously I've never considered. Obviously, I've never grown up in a place like that, but like, I was just fantasizing, and there was a part of me that was like, yeah, if you were a gangster rapper, you would be fucking all these bitches, and you'd be the big G, and you'd make a fuck ton of money because so many people buy drugs these days and so on. And I was just like calm down, because I was getting all these like mad fucking high testosterone sort of urges and visualizations, and I was getting like a fucking semi just on the bus home and shit. It was like, yeah, it was like emotionally appealing on some level to like be the big guy and fucking dominate others and just fuck a lot of women and hustle these motherfuckers, these like drug addicted guys on and sell them drugs and shit like that. But I always knew that with my, like, logically, it was just fucking ridiculous. Like, what the fuck is this? This is just, insane. Like, what the fuck? This is just haram. This is disgusting, like, what the fuck is this, man? And I was honestly surprised that I could even like, I could feel the sort of I could feel the appeal. I could feel the good feelings, the enticement of that lifestyle, when in reality I know that it's just so fucking disgusting and wrong on every level, at least for me and my values, and that it's so risky and everything like that. Most of these motherfuckers die, at fucking 20 years old or some shit like that. It's insane. And yeah, it's really fucked up. But then the only thing that I sort of had in mind at that time was that if I do not change my behavior, I prove to myself that my feelings and my thoughts don't have control over me. Because you cannot always control your feelings or your thoughts. Of course you cannot, right? But you can control your actions. And so you may as well just get really fucking good at disregarding your emotions all the time, basically, and just acting like you're supposed to act. Do the things that are the things that would have the highest likelihood of giving you what you want, right? So if I want to make muscle, I go to the gym, train hard with good technique, consistently, progressive overload, eat a lot of protein, eat a lot of calories, carbs, have a lot of sleep, testosterone, that kind of stuff, right? And so it's like, yeah, man, it's like you don't have to feel bad for feeling a certain way, or you don't have to like judge if you don't have to judge yourself for feeling bad. I like this quote by Alex Ramosi. He's like a big entrepreneur, and he said that don't judge yourself on how you feel, judge yourself on what you do despite how you feel. And that really fucking clicked with me, because like if you get sexual urges on NoFap, for example, you really fucking want to jack off, you're really fucking horny, there is nothing wrong with you. Like, you are on the right path. That is a symptom. That is a sign of you being on the right path. Of course you're gonna get urges. Of course you are. Like, you're a fucking young man. What are you? No fucking shit. So why are you judging yourself negatively for that? Like, the only thing you have to do is keep doing whatever you were doing before. Don't change how you act based on the sexual urge. And if you do that, you have by definition resisted the urge, and you have done everything that I could possibly ask of you, you know? As someone who's trying to help you if you're on this path, you know? And yeah, that's just my mindset in terms of all this kind of stuff, in terms of sexual urges and just emotions in general. Because I think a lot of people get overwhelmed by certain emotions, and they get tangled up and they start acting erratically and so on. And it's, you know, it's, at least for me, I have judged myself negatively in the past for how I feel, when that's just not logical at all. Like, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you judge yourself negatively based on things that you cannot even control? If you can control it, for sure, judge yourself either negatively or positively, depending on how you acted. But like, you cannot control if you fucking feel this. Like, if you feel nervous before you go up on stage, there's nothing really in the moment that you just can do to stop feeling. Like, you can't willingly, like using your will, get that shit away, you know? Of course, you can practice beforehand and reduce the likelihood that you're going to be nervous through habituating to all the variables in the environment and so on. But like, at the end of the day, man, like, action is the only thing that matters. Like, what you do is the only thing that will impact if you reach your goals or not. Sure, what occurs in your brain might increase the likelihood that you, or increase or decrease the likelihood that you do what is required to get what you want. Sure, like, if you, that might be true, but at the end of the day, action is the only thing that like directly actually matters. And so that is kind of like my big takeaway from yesterday, that even though you might get like weird fucking visualizations about fucking a girl in this position or what, like some primal animalistic shit, like some dark desires, don't judge yourself for it, man. There's nothing wrong with you. The only thing that's wrong if you actually act upon that shit, you know? And I think, you know, there's a chapter in a book called The Way of the Superior Man by David Data. It's like a book on masculinity and things that can make you a better man. And so basically, one of the chapters is titled "Own Your Dark fucking hell, man. Voice cracks, bro. Like, that's just a side tangent. I don't really know why the fuck I'm still getting voice cracks. You know, I got my deeper voice like fucking years ago, but it's okay. Let's move on from that. So, David Data's book. So, The Way of the Superior Man, Own Your Dark Desires, one of the chapters. And so basically what he's talking about is that as a man, you are very, and as a woman as well, probably, you're probably not a woman, but even women as well, like all of us are very likely to get dark desires, which means that we might feel like committing homicide, like murder, or like really aggressively like fucking fornicating with the opposite sex or whatever, these kinds of things. We might get those thoughts and emotions, and we might get really fucking pissed off at some guy who's bumping into us, and we might want to fucking punch his skull in. You might get that primal urge. I don't know if you do. I do sometimes, although of course I would never act on that. But that's the point, you know? Like, just if you can just own your dark desires, and instead of telling yourself that, okay, I have these desires in me, I have these emotions, therefore I am bad, instead say to yourself, this is completely normal. There's nothing wrong with me. Let me use these desires as fuel to do the things that I know are right. You know, if you can do that, that is when I think you have won in terms of this like emotional fucking game, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it's like, For me at least, I believe in God. So I see those sort of emotions as tests from God to test if I can resist the temptations or not. And so whatever sort of mindset, whatever beliefs that you have, I would advise you to to embrace one that is useful, that makes it more likely that you hit your goals no matter what. So so yeah, bro, that's kind of it, man. And yeah, bro, that's what I take away from yesterday. And by the way, if you do want to join the community that I mentioned and you actually want to be in this accountability group, then you can check out the link in the description. It's completely free. There's also like a 3-hour NoFap course in which I put all of my like tips and tricks for NoFap, and I'll be remaking it soon as well. And so with like all the new updated beliefs and things that I've learned on this journey in the course, in the protocol. And yeah, bro, it's called the 90-day NoFap protocol. And I think, because for me at least, after 90 days, maybe not exactly 90 days, of course, but like around that time, I stopped even having the thought of jacking off cross my mind. You know, I still have sexual urges, of course I do. I still feel horny as fuck. I still get rock hard titaniums, you know, fucking, you know, morning woods, morning titaniums. But the thought of doing this doesn't cross my mind, you know? And I think that when you stop a habit for a couple of months, usually they tend to disassociate in your mind. Like the habit loop, the craving, like the desire to do the thing, and the actual action through which we're going to fulfill this desire, the connection between those two are generally broken after a couple of months of not doing a habit of abstinence. So that's why I named it the 90-day NoFap protocol. And I'm sure it's a bit of a gimmicky fucking like a word in terms of NoFap or term, like 90-day thing. Some people say that you start levitating after 90 days, and I can assure you that is true. You know, I'm living proof of that. But yeah, man, it's like I think it's a great place, and if you want to join the accountability calls and that kind of stuff, and actually take this shit seriously, because accountability is what changed the game for me. Like when I told my best friends about my struggles, and when I started making these vlogs, it was basically at the same time. That was when I actually stopped jacking off, and so maybe it'll work for you as well. If you're like similar to me, you're maybe 16 or 20 years old, whatever, and you're maybe from Europe or North America, Australia, whatever, then that might be useful for you too, man. And because I think a lot of people don't even have anyone in their life that they're talking to in terms of NoFap. You know, they don't get accountability from anyone, and that's pretty tough. You know, and that was me for a long time, self-inflicted because I didn't ask for it. You know, but it's and I'm doing it for free right now because I want to make sure that I can actually get people results before I start charging anything. Because of course, a lot of people charge money for coaching, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's totally justified. But and I also think that when people do pay money for stuff, they are generally more invested in the thing, and they are going to be more likely to actually take action on the stuff that are going to increase the likelihood that they get the result. So I do think that is true, but I'm doing free coaching right now because I want to get experience as a coach, and I want to be able to actually deliver consistent results to people before I start charging, you know, and get testimonials and that kind of stuff. So if you want to be like my fucking number one case study, like my number one testimonial, my number one success story, that, like, I'm doing it for free, bro. You can get my free help, and you would be doing me a fucking service, you know? So that would be great if you want to join. And then yeah, that's kind of it, man. You can join the community below. I'll shoot you a message, or if you want to shoot me a message, that's also cool. I'll probably shoot you a message before. We'll see. But yeah, man, and we'll have a chat and see if it's a good fit and everything. And yeah, bro, that's it, man. Join the community. Hope you see you inside, bro. And as always, keep following the light path. Remember who you are, a light in the mist, and may StarClan light your path always.